Lady spanking her child too much. I think we were in Oregon. Me, my sisters, my dad, my mom went to Oregon. Now, when I grew up, uh, my uncle tells me that my dad was sometimes physically abusive with my mom. I think I may have seen these things and I didn't know. I don't know. I don't really remember, but I remember later in elementary and junior high. But I remember I've always been extremely defensive of women. My mother, I was defensive for. My sisters, even though me and them got into fights from time to time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not the best person. I don't always treat women properly and appropriately. But generally speaking, I try to defend women anytime I can, as best I can. So this, I think I had a real disdain in my mouth for abusive people, bullying type people, um, people that would hurt other people or abuse them. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, I've had my own issues and my own abusive issues, but there was a mother who brought her child, little boy or girl, maybe two or three, and brought him into the bathroom at a campground in Oregon. I think it was a campground in Oregon. It might have been Utah, but anyway, wherever it was, I was probably elementary, maybe late elementary, early junior high, but more than likely later in the elementary. And she kept spanking and spanking and spanking this crying kid, and just kept beating on this crying kid. Come back out, he'd be crying, take him back in, beat him again. And I thought that was, I says, you knock it off. I yelled at her. I said, you knock it off. You leave that kid alone. I was pissed. I just chewed on her. My sister Jamie, I think, was with me. But I just stood up for that kid, and I said, you leave that kid alone. You're being rude, mean to that kid. Because she was overly spanking him. Anyway, then I went to my trailer, where my dad's trailer was, and my mom and dad, they were in a trailer, and I said, Dad, this is what happened. This lady was spanking her kid a lot, and I told her to stop it. And so he goes, that's all right, don't worry about it. If her husband comes over to bug you or anything, I'll kick his ass. So he got his bat out, and he sat it right there in the trailer, and the dad with the little kid come walking by, kind of because I felt like I was disrespectful to the lady, but I was sticking up for what was right for the child. Anyway, the dad came walking by with the kid, and I was standing out there with my bike and stuff, and he just looked at me and kept walking. And my dad he never said anything to us, but my dad was ready to beat the hell out of him if he messed with me. So anyway, but there again, I think I've always been extremely not overprotected. I don't think you can ever be overprotective for women, but I think I was extremely protective for women because of what I had witnessed growing up and some of the things I'd seen, and then also possibly with some of my dad's issues. But hopefully in the eternities, God will make all these things be resolved, because there's nothing that can come from hurting children or women. When guys get into it, they kick each other's butt. Sometimes I think that's bad too, but sometimes that's got to happen. But there's no reason why a man should hurt a child, in my own case, having that happen to me when I was a kid from my dad, and then me perpetuating that with my children. And I hope that they will forgive me, because I've been overly aggressive and abusive sometimes from with them. So they know that's a sore spot I have that I feel really bad about. But over time, things have become better, and so hopefully my children will heal, and they will be better to their children. I already see it in some of my children. They're better with their kids than I was with them. So hopefully things will improve over time. But that's what happened with the lady spanking her kid too much. I stuck up for the little child.